Hopefully you guys can hear me well. Let's do our intros. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And our favorite Darcian UK raised, UK accent having, apparently according to the racist white dude's 3.5 she boom sister, has spoken again. Wow. So I'm not gonna be too insulting to her. She wasn't too insulting. Of course, she sniped at men in general, mainly white guys. The incel white guys, and I'm gonna start saying INCELS. Right? What's going on, Vic? Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. Um, wow. Okay. I will. Damn, I forgot to get the brother's name who told me to look up and actually gave me the link. I am sorry, brother. Jeez, so this is the one thing I really actually need to get better in, is at least saying you guys tag name or whatever. What's going on, Trell? When you guys send me content or you want me to review stuff, man, man, look, look. So what's going on, D Scott? Oh, D Scott said your streams be starting when you're 2 minutes into talking to yourself. Man, look. Oh, we got a siren going off. What's going on? Fire truck, paramedic. Who's coming this way? Are we coming this way? Let's see. Give me a second before we really start talking on the stream. Is he coming this way? Nope, he went the other way. Alrighty then. All right, so let me hurry up and read off my notes. Um, Shay, what's going on, Shay? Long time no see. So we are reviewing Kidology, speaking about INCELS. Um, do I got that dead swamp wireless? Hopefully you guys can hear me. My apologies if you can't. I made sure to restart. Some of the, yeah, they would never say that to my face. Kidology. In America, yeah, some of them white guys would say it to your face. Like, yeah, you could bet. She said I bet her heart because she don't really got money like that. Kidology. Yeah, maybe in the UK them white guys wouldn't say it to your face, but in America, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Kidology, yeah, they would say it to your face. Oh crap. Can you guys not hear me? I will be moving around. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear me in a minute. Let me see if I can move to somewhere where my connection is better. I'm moving, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Of course, when I'm like about to do a really good video, I think about this situation. Can anyone hear me better now? Can we hear me better now? Now, maybe now, possibly now. Let's see. How about now? How are we doing now, everyone? Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so let's go through this again. As I was saying before, Kidology. This is the white guys, young and old. This is really them. Don't get it misconstrued, Kidology. This is really them, right? Maybe you think maybe the white guys in the UK, right? Maybe they wouldn't say this to your face, but a lot of white guys in America would call you she-boon. If I'm not mistaken, that's what they called you, she-boon, to your face, right? That they really mean that. So let's be very clear, Miss Kidology. They mean what they say, right? They're being racist like this. They call you shibun, as in female baboon, as in primate, as in monkey. They're calling you a monkey. They mean it. They've been saying it. That's centuries old, if not millennial old ways of insulting black people, right? So they mean what they say, ma'am. They mean what they say, right? You're a black woman and they're insulting you. They understand what we're doing here. The white guys have the energy and the time to start a fake account with your pictures, get you matched with a bunch of other primarily white men in your area, and they're still calling you essentially a monkey. They're calling you a monkey. They make a fake account, and still with you getting matched with a bunch of people, with a bunch of pretty much white men, they're still calling you a monkey, right? And there's a few things that Kidology was right about, right? Or somewhat right about. She is somewhat right about using market-based concepts and talks about love, right? She's right about that. She's also right, there is no guarantees, right? And there's only so much you can do to hedge your bets, right? Or to mitigate potential problems, even with money. Although, as we can see from that marriage data, y'all know I gotta say it, 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class Americans, 56% of upper middle class and above Americans. So money is the biggest predictor of whether this marriage is gonna last. The man's money, by the way. Right? But the market-based language doesn't make this any better. She's also right about, marriage for love is a relatively new concept, right? She's pretty right about that also. She's also right about dating apps being all about the money. It really is all about the profit. She's right about that, right? And so we knew that she was celibate. We didn't know for how long, but apparently for like some 7 years. That's a long time. That is a very long time, right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? That's a pretty long time. And so, thank you for the brother for sending this to me, giving me a way of actually pretty much sending this to me. And I'm listening in, and then I sat with this for a little while, because I had the time. I could have started it right after I listened to the stream. Well, not really, because I was at work. But, listening to the young lady speak, and it's like, look, the white guys are racist like they are. She go down the rabbit hole of like the difference between INCELS and then their female equivalent, the FemCELS, and she wants to expand the concept, and you always hear women say this. They want to expand the concept because just being laid is not the same. And she plays some clips from Destiny when he was on, and that means that she watched a lot of this stuff too. She played a clip from Destiny when he was on Fresh and Fit, when he was speaking about and I think it was Destiny, how a lot of men take for granted women being fearful, of men. The difference in physical ability. I mean, no, we don't take it for granted often. And that's why we try to tell y'all to be careful with the men that y'all go out on dates with. We tell y'all to be careful with the men that y'all decide to, engage with. Yeah, many of us don't take it for granted. Not the black men, at least. Right? Not the black men. And I think Kidology takes this. I don't know how much of this is in good faith. I'm not going to really speak on that, but there's like a lot of like whimsical ignorance, and I think that's maybe part of the charm of her channel, is like listening to her play with this, and you know she did some research on this, and it's like, but you like, don't you get it? Like when you speak about love in this way, do you not understand like the number one predictor of marriage at least is more the money of a man, not this love thing? Like we talk this love thing, but then men could come out with the hard cold facts that showed actually look at who's married, look at who's divorced, it's all money related. So while you speak about like this lack of like, let's like take this out of the market concept, this market based concept, which I actually agree with you on. I just think when we do that prematurely, we're actually gaslighting men, right? We're actually gaslighting men, and hopefully you guys can still hear me, right? We're actually gaslighting men when we do that. Number one. Number two, you know, the racist white guys gave her a 3.5 and called her a she-boon. Something, I think I heard it right. They called her a she-boon, as in baboon, as in female baboon, as in female primate, excuse me, as in female prime ape, as in monkey. And she said they even dropped the N-word. She didn't play the clip of them well, she didn't show them calling her the N-word. At least, you know, when I was looking at the screen, I didn't see that. Right? Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. But yeah, so I'm trying to keep this calm. I'm a bit in a loss of words because I'm watching a black woman like, and yeah, she's not American. Yeah, that's true. No American context here necessarily, right? But I'm watching a black woman like limbo herself, damn near break her spine to not come off offensive to the white guys who just pretty much used all the racist slurs and racist terminologies against black people that they've used against black people against this woman, right? And I'm watching her break her back to not do the same and try to understand them. And this grace is something black men are like never afforded, practically like never afforded by black women, even black women overseas, right? And we're watching her like break her back, trying to still, you know, maintain a certain level of grace and understanding for these men, these white racist men, right? Like, as I said before on the video that I made about Kidology, these men are showing you through action. Like, I made that video a couple weeks ago, right? And like, Kidology, these men are showing you through action what they really think about you as a black woman that's living in a predominantly black space. And they said it also about the friend zone thing. You're pretty much celibate because the men that you like and find attractive aren't into you in that way, which you also acknowledged, and which these white guys heard the same thing I heard. They bought it up also. You want to say the people that have been the most racist to you? Oh, let me bring that up. Thank you. Yeah, Kidology, keep on saying the people that have been the most racist towards you have been black people. You want to say that? You still want to say that? You still want to say that? The white guys online are calling you a she-boon. Oh my God. Right? They're calling you a 3.5. They might as well say you're like the ugliest thing. Once you start getting under 4, you're out of here. Right? And the grace that you show these racist white men, right? The grace that you show them for and you said they called you the N-word, so calling you the N-word, the grace that you showed them, right? Still kindness, still empathetic, right? Still empathetic. kindness, grace, right? And there's things that I agree with Kidology on. When she spoke about social media, these dating apps, right? When she spoke about using market-based value system, essentially neoliberal concepts to judge everything on, she's right about that. She's right. But let's call a thing. The grace that you showed these clearly white racist men who judge you as a 3 that's interesting, right? Who judge you as a 3, a 3.5, a 3. Come on, let's call a thing. A 3. And excuse my background, I'm about to jump on the expressway. Sorry for the loud noise in advance, right? Wow. So there's that. But then there's them insulting you, being racist towards you, and you playing that down. Like I said, I think that's generally probably her demeanor. That is probably the way she comports herself. I don't think she's putting on. Completely putting on, that is. I don't think she's completely putting on. But you see the grace for the white guys, the racist white guys, right? You see the kindness. So let's jump off of that, right? Let's also talk about this concept of love, right? And she's right. The concept of love is the way we think of it. This romanticized concept of love is pretty new. It's pretty recent, right? Give or take about 2 centuries or so, maybe 3, right? Really came through the Victorian era, so we're really not even saying a full 2 centuries. Right? And social media, and I think I see BGS's thumbnail in there. I can't look down completely unless I want me to down the expressway. I'll check out the comments in a minute. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? And we're reviewing, she's speaking about her talking about looks maxing and being sold correctly, right? Which is essentially calling her a monkey. Let's call a thing. Them essentially calling her a monkey, right? And yet she showed them so much grace and so much deference, right? And she was still so empathetic with the white guys that I made a previous video telling her, no, they mean what they say. They are that racist. She said she puts money, she was joking, but she said she puts money, they wouldn't say it to her face. You take a flight to America and I guarantee you many of those white guys will say it to your face. Especially in the South. Oh yeah, they'll say it to your face. Swirler black women, right, swear that these white guys aren't who they are. They are who you think they are. Yes, they mean it. They mean what they said. Like I said in the title, they mean what they meant it. They said it, they meant it. Right? Yeah, those white guys are that's them. Right? Number one. Number two, you know, it's frightening watching and speaking to the difference in INCELS and the female equivalent, which Kidology is trying to shoehorn the female equivalent into what the men are saying. The men are saying no sex, right? None. The women are saying quality of sex. No, the men are saying if I don't pay for it, I'm not getting it. And the women are speaking about the quality of man they want to have from. That's not what the men are saying. Right? Or largely that's not what the men are saying. And you're going to see more and more women talking this kind of weird FemCELS thing. You're going to see more of that. especially as they put the bar to the damn ceiling or to the moon, right? You're going to see more of that. And so watching her, and she spoke about how the INCELS ran off their female equivalent off of many of these apps because they couldn't believe that these women were struggling. Kidology, to be honest, that applies to you too. That applies to you too. It's interesting listening to women speak about how men dismiss their plights. Right? And that, by the way, that is why she played the clip of, and I think it was Destiny when he was on Fresh and Fit, to essentially say, well, men dismiss women's plights. And I somewhat agree with Destiny on women having to worry about their physical safety in the presence of certain men, right? Or men in general. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, right? Yeah. But no. Right? Let's just call a thing a thing. The white guys that y'all swear by just showed you what they really think about you, Miss Kidology. Oh, Raj in here. What's going on, Raj? Raj is in here too. BGS and Raj, right? BGS in train tracks. Yeah, I gotta tell people when I'm going over to train tracks. I know it's loud, right? So there's certain things that she's right about, right? But the celibate for 7 years. What did I tell y'all about them throwing the temper tantrum? I can't get the type of men I want to be who I want them to be for me. So I'm just going to sit on it. No pun intended, because they're not actually sitting on that. But, right? And there's nothing wrong with it when it's like 1 or 5% of your female population. But then what happens in the West when it becomes more than that? Right? Last time I checked, I think Real Talk with Yanni said she was celibate too. Right? BGS, exactly. Take themselves out of the pool. Yeah. It's not just the men doing it, the women are doing it too. Once again, Morgan Stanley, 45% by 2030. Right? Childless and single. Well, definitely single. Right? Right? This is insane. Like, we're watching people unravel. We're watching their concepts get thrown in their face. We're watching them swearing by these white guys get thrown in their face. We're watching all the things that we say come to fruition, like in real time. 7-year celibate. We talk about them being celibate all the time. Well, definitely Mr. Z, right? Right? Them throwing a temper tantrum because they can't get what they want. We watch that all the time. The same white guys they swear by being racist as hell towards them. We're watching that literally right now. Right? The difference between INCELS and the FEM version of it. We're watching her play that out right now in her talks. Right? Like I said before, and I don't know how many of you heard this when I said it, the white guys had the energy and the time to take your pictures and make a fake account and get you matched with how many people in your area after they called you essentially a baboon. They called you a baboon and still had the energy and the time and the inclination to make you a fake account and get you matched up. Doesn't that speak to, and I think me and BGS spoke about this, the black dude that was on one of those INCEL streams, and he was pretty much pushing white guys to black women, and those white guys were ripping black women apart. White guys that are part of this movement or part of this organization, well, not organization, this group of men that can't get no sex, so they claim. That's their gripe. They can't get any sex. And when he says, look, the black women, all the stuff you see them do and act, and the way they act towards black men, they will not do that to you white guys. They worship you white guys. They live on your every word. And those same white guys who struggle to get women said no. And were insulting black women. I watched and listened to that stream with my own two eyes. I read through those live comments with my own two eyes. So this is not something I'm making up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Train tracks. Train tracks. Train tracks. Train tracks. More train tracks, and we're done. Right? Right? So what are these people talking about? The white guys are showing you what it is through action. Your life is showing you what it is through action. I don't even gotta say just the white guys. But even with, okay, let's take them off the map. Let's take them out the conversation. Kidology, 7-year celibate. You couldn't find a love match in 7 years. You couldn't find somebody you're attracted to like that in 7 years. And of course she chalks it off to, you know, I'm not just looking for sex, I'm looking for more of a connection, blah, you know, etc., etc. Okay. Okay. 7 years though? 7 years. Not just 7 years. You know, and we could put this in the swirler category. As of right now, she's a failed swirler. I think I can definitely see Kidology being married to a white dude in the next decade or so. But as of right now, oh yeah, failed swirler who's mad about it. Now, in one of her previous videos, she spoke about being attracted to different types of men, but for the most part, being attracted to white guys. She pretty much admitted it without saying it. You know how women start doing the whole vague talk thing where they say something without saying it? That way they can back out of it in the future. That's why their language is so vague. For those of you that don't know, and I don't know which one of us don't know, they don't make affirmative statements because they don't want to be pinned down to anything in the future. Right? That's why the language is so vague. Right? The brother sent me this. I'm listening to it. I sat with it for a little bit, and I'm thinking about this young-ish black woman being ripped apart by white racist guys, being insulted by white racist guys, being called monkey by white racist guys, and still showed a level of grace to them that black men wish we would get from black women from across the diaspora. Right? And Indigo Flow said plausible deniability. Exactly. That's why they use the vague language they use. Right? She showed a level of grace that black men wish they would get from black women. After the white guys said the most vile and racist things, they called you essentially a monkey. If they're calling you a she-boon, they're calling you a monkey. Right? If they're calling you a she-boon, they're calling you a monkey. And we're supposed to watch that, watch your grace with them, and then still wife a woman like this up. Right? And let me see what the comments said. BJ says, if it becomes more, then we'll buy it. Celibate, I'll buy a bit. Trell Bentley says. Right? Good point. Mr. T Mr. T094 says, you don't see 21-year-olds with the celibacy or 3-month rule. It's usually women well into their 30s. Good point. Good point. Right. Indigo Flow says, taunted with racial epithets and disrespected and extended grace sounds more like deference. Yeah. I mean, Victor says hard to be tough when you're thirsty, but the white guys are thirsty and they still tough on them on black women, right? They're still tough on black women. And once again, Demetrius, thank you for the super chat. He says, when I saw it, I was like, says the incel, right? Says the INCELS. Well, INCEL. And so Kidology is a very interesting person to me because she's not American, but the way she's kind of moving about in this conversation, it does speak to a certain class and type of black woman in the West, but even in America, even though she's not American, right? There's a certain level of grace when it comes to speaking to, excuse me, non-black men. There is this way of like kind of speaking about some of these concepts, and like once again, she's somewhat right when she's speaking about the market-based concepts when we start talking about love, right? She's right. There is no guarantee to this, and when you put a market-based, because you, for business, a lot of it, yes, is making profit, obviously, but mitigating it against risk to a certain extent. How much of that can you truly do when much of this relationship thing is a leap of faith? She's right about that. You can only mitigate so far with this person because much of this is a leap of faith and trust. She's right about that, right? She's right about the dating apps being about money and profit. It's not about, hooking you up with someone really, right? But there was another part towards the end of the video that she made, where she spoke about speaking to some a 60-year-old or someone in their 60s, I think she said, and they were speaking about going to these kind of free dance events back in the day, and like you start off young with these things, and then you fall in and out of love with people, and sometimes it takes some of the boys months to finally build up the courage to speak to you. And essentially she's talking about this kind of adulting process and this kind of rites of passage process between the young boys and the young girls that eventually become men. And that's interesting, but that's hard to do now when we are having conversations about what exactly a man is. Oh, damn it. Yeah. See, how do you raise a boy to a man? How do you kind of build this society to essentially give boys and men and girls and women this kind of rites of passage way of doing things when we're having a discussion in the West about what exactly a boy is, what exactly a girl is? You see, can't really start talking about men and women when we don't even know what a man and woman is, right? And I had to stress that you're speaking to this lady who's speaking about kind of the good old days, right? The good old days. There are no more good old days, right? There are no there. That's not here anymore. Not for the masses, right? Unless if you're a black person, unless you're part of the Jack and Jill Society or something like that, that's gone. The daddy daughter dances. If you're not part of that kind of society over there, that's out the window, right? And the white guys called you out for it, Kidology. The white guys called you out for your dating life not being that great. You kind of having a thing for some of your male friends who are also not interested, and so you decided to pretty much take yourself off the market. Talking about market language, right? All right, that's cool. And this, when people hear temper tantrum, when they hear Mr. Z say temper tantrum, I'm purposely using that because I know how visceral it sounds, because we've seen our nephews and nieces and our baby cousins throw those temper tantrums, right? Or depending on how old you are, your way younger siblings we know what that looks like. That's why I purposely use temper tantrums. Now for adults, sometimes it's gonna look like that. Sometimes y'all really do be looking like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds throwing temper tantrums. But it's gonna be different for adults sometimes, which is people just saying, you know what, this ain't working for me. All right, fine then. Right? Wait a minute. So you watched it and then got lost? Let me read the nameless protagonist comment. Nameless, you gotta have to clarify, because that if I'm thinking what I think you said, it became even more funny. So the nameless protagonist, shout out to the nameless protagonist, says, Z, that video was 30 minutes. I watched it to get a idea of what you're talking about, and now I am lost. Bruh, but that, I mean, are you lost because of how she sounded, or are you lost because I'm reviewing it all type of messed up? Right? Or maybe a mixture of both. Right? But for me, the reason why I put the title the way I did while Nameless is typing when he's typing is because the white guys meant what they said. And she tried to be graceful and give them space and, say that, she pretty much guarantees that they wouldn't say it to her face. And I'm like, the white guys that I know from the South, the white guys from America, from the South, no, they mean it. And they would say it to your face. They called you a she-boon. Yeah, they say it to your face. They said it and they meant what they said. They called you a 3.5. They meant what they said. Right? They see what you did as just complaining, and to show the difference between, and it is to discount the fem CELs, right? Compared to the INCELS. They created a fake profile in predominantly white areas after insulting the way you look and watching you get matched up with so many men, just to show the difference between the INCELS and their female counterparts. What? Nameless says, what aspects of her video are you addressing? The white dude's basically saying she can get smashed. The racism. Oh, I'm sorry. Basically saying she can get smashed. The racism seems to emphasize the point that she is rocking the INCL title, but her as a female can still get vitamin D. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, no, I am covering the racism part. And I'm also covering the part where she acknowledges she's not necessarily looking for that. And I can give that space. Like, I don't fault women for the difference in them wanting a particular quality of man. Although I think that quality, the bar is to the damn moon. I don't fault them for that. What I'm saying is, look at how they went at her. The same men had the energy, and I'm also getting on her for the grace that she showed them, even after their clear racism, right? What I'm saying is the energy that they showed, the energy that they had to create a fake profile and get her matched, even after insulting her, not just as a woman, but as a black woman, and calling her all type of essentially monkey, right? Nameless says, if she's looking for a real relationship, it's different entirely. The INCL community community's point is damn the relationship. They can't even get seen as human, which is why they wanted to out her. Exactly. So so that's what I'm saying. They're discounting everything she's saying. And she's trying to force or wedge in the Fims into that. And remember, she said it herself, she's trying to expand that concept of INCELS, right? That said, those dudes have some petty, insane standards, and it's back to the entitlement piece of that video. It is odd, though, to her motives. Yeah. What the entire. And so that's. And I think that's something that men, but definitely the women, are going to have to work on, is that entitlement part. But then the men, I mean, the men have been being told forever, you're not guaranteed to this. And I think that's even something the men are willing to accept. That's where the looks maxing come in. All right, I'm not guaranteed. Let me try to be, let me get this money on point. Let me get my money on point. Let me go to the gym. Let me do this. Let me be as appealing as I possibly can. And let's see what happens after that. Right? And let me see what happens after that. And she's like playing it down. Like it's not that serious, because all y'all want is the numbers. We want quality. Y'all want quantity. And that's somewhat true. Those men, many of them want quality also, right? Nameless says her argument against looks maxing was taken as removing the only the only option incels thought they had. Well, it goes back to, right, and it goes back to something that you see often with 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 women like her, women in general, is they do the whole, well, what about your personality thing, right? Like women aren't choosing you because maybe you have a horrible personality, right? Or maybe like you're not a good person, like, right? Or maybe something like that. Give me a second, you guys. I'm gonna pause right here. Give me a second. Something's going on. All right, I'm back. But yeah, so that I don't know. I Like I said, listening to Kidology. I'm about to come to a close too in a minute, you guys. But yeah, listen to Kidology. Really, it helps to put in perspective just kindness, grace shown to, number one, white racist men. Clearly white racist men. It also shows you not appreciating the difference between what you're saying and what they're saying. Like Nameless said, they're not even being seen as human. They're not even getting the chance to have that physical human connection, right? They're not even having that female connection. The nameless protagonist says there's something to be said about the commodification of human interaction across the board, but in a world of make-up sorcery, filters, and feminism, targeting looks maxing can be misunderstood. True. Trail Bentley says, personality be damned, I like a nice shape, hysterical. Nameless says, they aren't in a position to turn down a casual engagement, which is something Jordan Peterson breaks down. And I think I don't think women will ever understand that. We're talking about the INCLS are saying, I don't even have the option of turning down things, right? Of turning down things. I don't think they get that. And excuse me, you guys, give me 1 second. That I can still do what I gotta do. Yep, all this noise. I'm sorry for that, you guys. All right, gotta walk with me as I go clock in because I gotta do this real quick. Yeah, so I mean, like, y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. But yeah, so I mean, Kidology is interesting. Like, I'm not gonna beat up on her too much because she wasn't exactly mean. I mean, her tone doesn't come off like that, right? And she did snipe at the guys a little bit, snipe at men a little bit, a lot of bit, a little bit, right? But once again, there's a, I know that there's so many men that just watch how kind she was with her critique, right? At least in her tonality, and they wish, right? They would be shown that level of grace. And it's interesting this happening after her video where she was essentially speaking about and this is the part that I really this was the part that I found interesting. I really wanted to say enjoyable, but it's really not, watching black people go through it. Her essentially saying the people that have been the most racist towards her has been other black people, and then you watch as these white guys rip her apart, right? The people that have been the most racist towards you have been other black people, but yet these white guys just said some of the most racist, foul things in the world to you just now, right? They called you the N-word according to you. They called you a she-boon, all of that, right? All of that. Right? And you show them this level of grace and kindness and empathy. Right? To the point where you want to kind of shoehorn what you're saying into what they're saying. As they call you monkey, by the way. Oh, my bad, you guys. Oh, the popping. Okay, my apologies. All right, you guys, give me a second. Give me a second. Mm-hmm.
I am back. Hopefully, you guys can hear me better now. Hopefully, right? I'm about to end out anyway, but yeah. So I just wanted to talk about the review Kidology pretty much getting ripped apart by the white racist guys that she just swore by the other day. Her trying to shoehorn in what the FEMCEL women are going through, right? Compared to the INCELS men are going through, and the difference while she's trying to shoehorn them in, right? But there are certain things that she spoke about that I think, like nameless said, the commodification of human beings, of men, right? She kind of spoke. She touched on it just a smidge, right? But I mean, but oftentimes the women that she's speaking on, they defend that. They actually that's the difference. While you're speaking about this, you're low key defending the same women that engage in this commodification of men, the same women that find 80% of men unattractive, right? And you speak about quality, relationship. Excuse me. You speak about personality and character and all of this other thing. That's always the go-to, right? Right. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Y'all said my Reese, Mr. Z out.